23rd of August 2020 at SummerSlam, live at the WWE Thunderdome, Roman Reigns returned to wreck everyone and leave after an incredible last man standing match between Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, where Bray Wyatt came out as the Universal Champion. On the following episode of SmackDown, it was revealed that Roman Reigns is now with Paul Heyman. Makes no sense, but you know, we go with it, we like that. So now we've got Roman Reigns as the heel champion that we've always wanted, we've always wished for this, and he's got Paul Heyman in his corner. But how are WWE going to handle this? How are they going to book this? That doesn't matter here, because this is how Dylan would book it. Roman Reigns as a Heyman guy. So let's begin with what we know at this point. So this is being recorded the day after the September 4th episode of SmackDown. So we know that at Clash of Champions, Roman Reigns is going up against Jey Uso of all people. The first thing that I was thinking is, where's Jimmy Uso? I've not looked into any specific reasons why Jimmy Uso isn't there. Maybe he's injured, I'm not too sure. I will probably look it up after I've made the video. But it's still the perfect opponent for Roman Reigns to start his heel championship run, because you've got Jey Uso, who is Roman Reigns' cousin, I believe that's right. He's some form of family, and as we know in the WWE, family sells. So it makes sense for Jey Uso to be a challenger against Roman Reigns. But we know that Jey Uso isn't world title worthy either. No disrespect to Jey Uso, amazing wrestler, just he isn't on that mega star level that Roman Reigns is at. So we know that Roman Reigns is going to win this match, and it's going to be in dominant fashion. I would have Jey Uso come out of the blocks and give a really good go at Roman Reigns, but ultimately Roman Reigns is going to pretty much show up and win, which is his new tagline. So after Reigns wins this match, he's holding the championship. He's like, oh, I'm the big dog. I showed up and I won. I did things. I did stuff. Wow, look at me. I'm Roman Reigns, the big dog. You know, things like that. He's holding up his championship, and then the lights go out. This is where you turn the lights out, Dylan. Thank you. And everyone's just like, oh no, what's going on? Like, all the fans around Roman Reigns are turned off, all that sort of thing. You can turn me back up now. I love how I'm directing myself. I'm amazing. I am the big dog. No, I'm not the big dog. I am the massive canine. I hate myself. But then as the lights turn back on, it's a massive red light. It's red light, and up at the entranceway, it's the Fiend, and he just does his thing where he just goes, and he just points down at the ring, showing that he's coming for Roman Reigns and he's coming for the Universal Championship. And this match will happen at Hell in a Cell, and it will be a Hell in a Cell match as well. We put this into a Hell in a Cell match, one, because we've had Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt before, and you can sell the point of the Fiend never forgets and all that sort of thing. But also because Roman Reigns is in the cage, Paul Heyman won't be in there with him. Paul Heyman is great at portraying a cowardice person, so it makes sense for him to not want to be in the cage regardless. And with that support not being there for Roman Reigns, it allows for a situation where the Fiend will win back the Universal Championship, and everyone questions, does Roman Reigns need Paul Heyman? So yeah, the Fiend is now the Universal Champion. And the fact that Roman Reigns has already been unsuccessful at defending the Universal Championship in a match where it matters more, it will piss off both Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, and this can be used as fuel for Survivor Series, where Roman Reigns will captain Team SmackDown, and you can have whoever you want in the teams for Team NXT, Team SmackDown, Team Raw, but the result will pretty much be that Roman Reigns is the sole survivor for Team SmackDown who get the win. And it's important that Roman Reigns is the only sole survivor, so he can stand there and pretty much be like, I am the greatest thing in this company. I am the best on SmackDown. I deserve another shot at the Universal Championship, and that will take place at TLC. So how this will set up is basically Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman will come out and declare basically what I've just said, that they're the best and this, that and the other. And Bray Wyatt will accept the challenge via the Firefly Funhouse. And what will be interesting here is that it won't be the Fiend facing Roman Reigns at TLC. It will be Bray Wyatt himself as the Firefly Funhouse character. So at TLC, you'll have Bray Wyatt as Bray Wyatt, not the Fiend, Bray Wyatt against Roman Reigns. Hours before the match, you have a segment between Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman where they're in the locker room. And then as they're talking, discussing tactics, you see that Paul Heyman gets a phone call. So Paul Heyman answers the phone, yep, okay, no, say anything, really. And then he tells Roman Reigns, I've got to leave the arena, you'll have to go out and do it yourself. This annoys Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns wants to prove a point, and he, within himself, knows that he can do this himself. So Bray Wyatt comes out all jolly himself, like the Firefly Funhouse character he is. Roman Reigns comes out and completely obliterates Roman Reigns. Like, I'm talking. And then Roman Reigns comes out and completely obliterates Bray Wyatt. I'm talking battered, black and blue, pillar to post, bad. But one thing that's interesting to detail here is that Roman Reigns can pin Wyatt at any point, but he's toying with him. He's going to enjoy this. He's making a statement. Then 20-25 minutes, usual length of a main event match. Around this time, Roman Reigns is going for a final spear to just end the match and just let Wyatt get out of his misery. And then you hear this. The Beast Incarnate's back. So Brock Lesnar comes out and he signals for someone to come through. It's Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman has set up Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns is confused. He's like, I thought you were leaving. Why are you back? Why are you with Brock Lesnar? Brock Lesnar comes down to the ring, just hits Roman Reigns with an F5. That's it. Just one F5. And then Bray Wyatt pulls over, drapes his arm over Roman Reigns' shoulder. 1, 2, 3. The Fiend, or Bray Wyatt, has retained the Universal Championship. So Paul Heyman comes down to the ring on SmackDown and declares or demands that Brock Lesnar gets a shot for the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble. And if Brock Lesnar doesn't get this opportunity, he will boycott or destroy the entire show. Now, we know that Brock Lesnar can do this. He showed it in the 2020 Royal Rumble match. He so dominant, and Brock Lesnar basically threatens to do that, but with the entire show, he'll ruin everything he wants. He will ruin WWE if he doesn't get this title shot. And no official turns to Brock Lesnar and goes, you're going to have this match. Bray Wyatt himself accepts this challenge, but it's going to be the Fiend at the Royal Rumble, not Bray Wyatt. Brock Lesnar's beating the Fiend at the Royal Rumble. Brock Lesnar's becoming the Universal Champion. Now, it'll be a very head-to-head match. It'll be very even. The Fiend will come very close many times in this match, but Brock Lesnar will prove to be too strong and he will walk out the Universal Champion. So now we move on to the Royal Rumble match, and you know, the match is quite standard. People come in, people throw people out, you know, that sort of thing. It's a standard match. I don't know how you would book it in the early stages. I'll probably do that in another video. But at number 20, or around that point, Roman Reigns comes out, and there's a fair few people in the ring, and he comes in straight away, just eliminates 3 people like Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura, Adam Cole. You know, people like that. One NXT person will definitely be in that trio. I'll just throw Adam Cole because he's amazing. And you see, Roman Reigns has got more influence to come in and win this match now, because Brock Lesnar, the man who cost him the Universal Championship at TLC, is now the Universal Champion. And Reigns has an opportunity to face him once again at WrestleMania, make it the trifecta. And you know, Reigns will throw out 1 or 2 more men. You know, he will be the most dominant man in this match. And it's coming up to the number 30 spot. And now the WWE Universe have been talking about rumours, people that have been called up, people that can debut, people that can return. There's so much excitement for the number 30, and you don't know what's going to happen. And who's going to be number 30? It's clobbering time. Hi guys, what's going on? My name's Dylan, and today we are booking how we would do the return of CM Punk. It's a 2 video in 1, and as I said, it's clobbering time. I need to calm down. This is too exciting. Before we get anywhere, I feel like I need to get in character, so hang on. Let me just give me a minute. It's a work in progress. Well, while I'm doing this, if you want to just, you know, go get some food, you know, get something to drink, you know, that's perfectly fine. But if you do want to just stand here and watch me draw, you're free to just stand there and watch me. You know, go have a wash. You know. Oh no, look, I'm done. That's gonna be hard to get off. Of course, this is still Roman Reigns' video, but he's no longer a Heyman guy. And since I got the suggestion from this comment here, it made sense just to make this into a 2-in-1, and just, you know, I felt like this is also a great way to implement the return of CM Punk, and you'll understand why as we go through the booking. So CM Punk runs down to the ring after receiving a massive pop, hoping that we still have fans. So CM Punk runs down to the ring and he just delivers his signature moves. So stuff like the running knee in the corner, the arm trap neck breaker, and even the GTS, which I would have him deliver to Roman Reigns, just to get him out of the ring for 5 minutes or so, you know, just to give him a break. I'm going to move my hat this way just because it's annoying me a little bit. So then we get to the final 4, and I would have in this final 4 Roman Reigns, CM Punk, John Cena, and Daniel Bryan. Now I know what you're thinking, these are 4 men who have all been world champions, and specifically WWE champions, and they've received many opportunities over the years, but I'm going to explain. So Roman Reigns is the top guy, he's been billed to be the top guy, and you want him to be in this position, and he's someone who's always been in the top 4 spot of the Royal Rumble over the years. If he's not won, he's always been runner-up. So it makes sense for Roman Reigns to be in that position. CM Punk's just returned as the final entrant in this year's Royal Rumble, so the number 30 spot, it always makes sense to put him there as well. John Cena is always someone that I've admired, someone who I think is one of the greatest of all time, and he can still go. WWE can still tease that he wants to go for that record-breaking 17th World Championship reign, and putting him in this position in the Royal Rumble would really tease that. And it would also be seen as a surprise return, because obviously John Cena is now in Hollywood. He's this era's Dwayne Johnson or The Rock, and CM Punk's greatest rival in WWE, in my opinion, is John Cena. And then Daniel Bryan is always a reliable option as well. He's someone that we all wanted to win the Royal Rumble years ago. He's someone who should have won a Royal Rumble at some point. He's one of the greatest to step foot in the WWE. And that's not just my opinion, that's a lot of people's opinions as well. So what I would do is I would have John Cena eliminated by CM Punk, and then Roman Reigns eliminate Daniel Bryan. So then you're just left with the final 2, Roman Reigns and CM Punk. So in this exchange, it's obvious that Punk will be the babyface and Reigns will be the heel. Reigns, it's important to note that he's still got his characteristics, he's still got all of the persona and everything about him that he had when he was a Heyman guy. But because of what's happened, he's a face. So he's pretty much more of a tweener. He can still snap into either way. And this is also important because nobody's loved Reigns more than how they love Reigns now. But you could literally put anybody in Reigns' position in this exchange. You could put the biggest babyface in WWE, put him in this position against CM Punk, and they will be seen as the heel because everyone will want CM Punk to win, because it's a guaranteed road to the main event of WrestleMania. Actually, no, it's not. It's just a guaranteed way to get to a title match. So who is going to win the 2021 Royal Rumble? Roman Reigns will. So Roman Reigns will become a 2-time Royal Rumble winner. It will be to the disappointment of a lot of people. People will be discontent, just like they were back in 2015 when Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble. But what you got to understand here is that Roman Reigns has a reason to go after Brock Lesnar. Now, last time it was just sort of they're building Roman Reigns up. This time, Roman Reigns has a reason, and with what's going on, I think people will want Reigns to go after Brock Lesnar, but at the same time, they would have rather Punk been given the opportunity. So having Punk in that situation does kind of backfire how you want to deal with Roman Reigns, but at the same time, Roman Reigns gets a more meaningful Royal Rumble win, and plus it puts him in the list of people like Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, John Cena, people that won the Royal Rumble 2 or more times. And if you want Roman Reigns to be of that sort of caliber, Cena's a megastar, you want to have statistics like that. So we go to the SmackDown after the Royal Rumble, and Roman Reigns is pretty much confirming that he's going to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. He's going for the Universal Championship. And pretty much soon after he announces who he's going for, CM Punk comes down to the ring. We all think, oh, Punk's going to be angry that he's fluffed up his opportunity to get to the main event. But he comes down and he actually congratulates Roman Reigns. He understands what Roman Reigns is going through, since CM Punk was a former Heyman guy. He's been screwed by Paul Heyman himself in the past. He's been cost opportunities by Paul Heyman. So he understands what's going through Roman Reigns' head. But it doesn't stop him from wanting to be in the main event of WrestleMania. So CM Punk essentially challenges Roman Reigns to a match at Fastlane, where the winner will go to the main event of WrestleMania. And stop interrupting me. And being the fighter that Roman Reigns is, Roman Reigns accepts this challenge. He wants to give Punk that match. He wants to feel like he earns that spot further. So this is how that he will do it. So the match is set Fastlane. It's Roman Reigns, CM Punk, the winner faces Lesnar for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. And the match is fairly even. It's back and forth. You know, they both get their maneuvers in. It's a very interesting contest. And when we get to the climax of the matchup, Paul Heyman come out to the entranceway and walk down to the ring. And Punk and Reigns at this point are at a stalemate. They're very even, they're both standing there. But they watch Heyman come down to the ring. And an interesting detail here is that Heyman has got the Universal Championship on him. Reigns and Punk feeling angry at Heyman for coming down to try and distract him and sort of destroy what great match I have him. They both go after Heyman, and even though they're upset that they've been interrupted, they both go after him and they get counted out. They forget that it's just a normal match. They get counted out and there's no winner. It's a count out. It's a double count out. It's a draw. So you've got to think about it this way. Sometimes it can be fantasy booking. Sometimes you have to be realistic with what WWE will likely try and do. They'll try and be creative. And they'll take risks, and sometimes risks are not worth the reward, and here it will be one of them cases. People will be pissed off with Paul Heyman for destroying the match, basically. It's proper WWE shithousery booking. So it's realistic, and, you know, in this case, it makes sense because Paul Heyman had one objective, and that was to make sure that Brock Lesnar, had no opponent for WrestleMania, and he's achieved that. Well, that's what he thinks. So the following SmackDown, we have Paul Heyman come down to the ring and he establishes himself as the greatest mastermind in pro wrestling. He bigs himself up for what he done at Fastlane, costing Reigns and Punk the opportunity to face Lesnar at WrestleMania. But then he's interrupted by Stephanie McMahon, of all people. She don't make many appearances these days, and whenever she does, it's a big moment, it's a big feel. And you know it's going to be important. So Stephanie McMahon comes out to the ring, doesn't do that Skype call that she did with Bayley and Banks. She's going to come down and actually speak to Paul Heyman, and she tells him that Lesnar is going to fight at WrestleMania whether they like it or not, but it's going to be a triple threat match, and it's going to be against the winner of the Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk is being added into that match as well. So you've now got this dynamic where it's three former Heyman guys, or well, Lesnar's a Heyman guy at this point, but regardless, three men associated with Paul Heyman are going to fight for the Universal Championship. So further bigs up that Paul Heyman is a genius with who he scouts and who he advocates for. But at the same time, it leaves Paul Heyman frustrated because two men that are really gunning for both him and Lesnar are now challenging Lesnar on the biggest stage in the main event. So from this point until WrestleMania, Roman Reigns will do his own thing. Paul Heyman will pretty much sell the match, that sort of thing. Roman Reigns will have matches on SmackDown, you know, Paul Heyman will cut promos, that sort of thing. It will be a proper lead up. But CM Punk, he is appreciative that he's now being given this opportunity. He's actually being backed up by management. Now this doesn't mean anything, but it's nice that WWE are finally taking Punk a lot more seriously than what they were. And in an interview, Punk is basically explaining how he is going to walk out as Universal Champion. He's going to show everyone that he's still got it. He's going to also avenge his UFC run, because you've got to remember as well, Lesnar and Punk are both former UFC fighters, so it makes sense for them to be in this position as well. But as this interview is being conducted, he's interrupted by Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is the one man that CM Punk wants to face, and this match will happen at Elimination Chamber. So Bryan will pretty much come to Punk and say, I know you want to have a match with me. If you want a match, do you want to have a match at Elimination Chamber? And it'll be almost like, it will be a match, it'll be a challenge, but it'll be like a training match for WrestleMania, because Punk will probably have some ring rust still. And having a match against someone like Daniel Bryan, who can really go, will just, it's the best solution to fix up CM Punk for WrestleMania. And then CM Punk will actually win this match, because CM Punk hasn't had a win yet. He had a loss at the Royal Rumble in the Royal Rumble match. He had a count-out draw against Roman Reigns at Fastlane. And he's only going to have pay-per-view matches. He'll be on a part-time schedule. He won't want to wrestle that many matches. He won't want to be chucked into the deep end. Because that was another thing that frustrated Punk. It was the long schedule, so WWE will want to relax this. Plus, he's in his mid-40s, so he's not going to have the energy levels to be able to go in, night out, fight all the time. Plus, if you just put CM Punk on pay-per-view matches, it will enhance the viewers' interests into the pay-per-views themselves, and it will increase the sales by a little bit, but every little helps, I suppose. So going into WrestleMania, you've got Brock Lesnar, the champion, who is the biggest draw in WWE, probably in history, to be fair. You've got Roman Reigns, who is getting more pissed off day by day, wanting Lesnar, wanting Heyman, wanting the Universal Championship. And you've got CM Punk, who has got all these years of frustration of not being put in the position where he feels he deserves, and he's now finally got a shot to prove to people why he should be in that WrestleMania main event slot. So the match starts, and I would have Reigns and Punk pretty much go straight for Lesnar. They team up on him, pretty much trying to get him out of the equation straight away, and it ends with Brock Lesnar being put through the announce table by CM Punk's elbow drop. So then it just leaves Punk and Reigns in the ring, and they can carry the match for about 10-15 minutes, really just go at each other just like they did at Fastlane. So there'll be a point where CM Punk hits the GTS on Reigns. It'll be a close fall, but it won't get the job done. And same with Reigns. Reigns will hit a spear on CM Punk. It'll be a close fall, match isn't done. And as both men are physically tired at this point, they're worn out, the intensity has been high throughout the whole match, and it's just slowing down a little bit because of the men are starting to fatigue. And that's when Brock Lesnar comes in and initiates Suplex City mode. So he hits German after German after German after German. And he goes to hit Roman Reigns with an F5, but then he knows that CM Punk is on the top turnbuckle when he goes for a crossbody. But Punk is also cool, so then Brock Lesnar just carries him, and then he just pretty much launches him on top of Roman Reigns, a double F5. And then once he's hit the double F5, he goes for the pin on CM Punk. Literally, the result we don't want is for Punk to be pinned by Lesnar. But then Punk kicks out, it's another close fall. Punk is still going strong. So the way I would have this match end is by CM Punk hitting Brock Lesnar with the GTS. Now this is a moment that will make everyone go mad. They'll pop, they will celebrate, they'll be like, oh my god, CM Punk's gonna have done it. But as Lesnar falls to the floor, he's hit by a Superman punch by Roman Reigns. And then Roman Reigns covers Brock Lesnar, 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns is once again your Universal Champion. Now having Roman Reigns win this match by using a move that people don't like, the Superman punch. I like the Superman punch. He doesn't have the best Superman punch in wrestling. That belongs to Orange Cassidy. But using a move that people don't like on a person that everyone loves and is this close to winning the main event of WrestleMania and taking it from him in that fashion, it will cause Roman Reigns to be a heel again, and you can make Roman Reigns a heel again and just move him forward and then carry on another Universal Championship reign there. Because then you'll have Brock Lesnar who stays part-time and just does his own thing. You'll have CM Punk who will that'll probably be his retirement. He won't have the desires to carry out a long WWE reign, but he will carry out a short reign just to achieve what he wanted to achieve and just to please the fans. You know, it's the best compromise for Punk, in my opinion. That's what this storyline was about as well. Giving something to CM Punk who deserves it. I get it's built around a frustration that he made himself, but at the same time he does deserve it. He gave so many fans investment in the product. He was the closest thing to Stone Cold Steve Austin since the Attitude Era ended. He's the closest thing that we've had. And well, for me, when I started watching wrestling in 2011, 2012, CM Punk was that guy. He was the main guy. So that, for me as well, it's a nostalgia feeling for CM Punk to be in that position. But yeah, anyway guys, that's how I would book both Roman Reigns as a Heyman guy and CM Punk's return. If you have any ideas for what you want me to do for videos, whether it's a wrestling booking video or anything in general, let me know down in the comments. Once again, thank you Law for that comment there. If you want to submit anything to me, as I said, in the comments, or if you don't want to comment it down below, you can send it to me on any social media. They'll be in the outro of the video. So that's been me guys. I've been Dylan. That's been fun. I'll see you guys next time. I'm gonna go wash that off. That's gonna be a bastard.